45 is my early care and education as well as parent education resolution. This resolution brings forth the idea that it's time for that there's not just time for babysitting a child, because a child needs to be stimulated, nurtured, and educated to be at the same level as other children by the time they enter preschool, by attending early care and education institutions as well as programs designed to assist families. Furthermore, this resolution highlights how parent education is imperative to make parents aware that early care and education has a positive impact in the lives of their children. Being poor, being African American, being Latino, has issues, and children who have issues of language are common things that we see with the children in our communities. African American and Latino children are oftentimes enrolled in child care institutions, but not ones that teach them their vocabulary, their numbers, or critical thinking skills. There are disparities between the vocabulary of those children enrolled in early care and education and those that are not. Children attending early care and education institutions have a vocabulary in the tens of thousands, while those children who have not have a vocabulary about 5,000 words. More than babysitting, children enroll them in early care and education programs makes a big difference. Studies show that approximately 80% of a child's brain has already been developed by the age of 3, and 90% of the brain development occurs by age 5. So if we only focus on preschool that occurs around the age of 2.5 to 3, we have missed a tremendous amount of time and a critical period in the life and the development of our children. Parents need to be equipped with the basic skills and knowledge of child rearing, as well as educate them on the importance of early care and preschool. Parenting educations, such as those taught by the Parent Institute for Quality Education and other parent organizations, highlight the importance of early child care and preschool, but they also teach parents new techniques that have proven to advance their children compared to other children whose parents do not know about or what value it is, or the importance of parenting classes. So therefore, parents have the right, are equipped with skills to ask the right questions, to be involved in the right issues, and overall to be better parents for their children. In the Governor's Revise that was recently released a couple of days ago, we saw, of course, an increase in resources. But we also know that since 2008, over 110,000 child care and early education slots were eliminated for working families. During that same time frame, about $1.2 billion has been cut out of California's safety net and early care and education support. So we need to continue to increase the affordability and accessibility of services for those parents. We also know that many of the studies on the impact that poverty has on a child's brain development. As with the governor's January budget proposal, the May Revise generally maintains the prior year's funding level for subsidized child care in preschools. Once, while listening to a presentation on the number of prison beds needed in the future, as this person was projecting how we were going to build more prisons, I asked a question innocently: how do you know how many prisons you're going to need to build? How do you make that prediction? And he simply decided in an honest way, and I don't think he really realized what he was saying at the time, but it was true. He says, we look to see how many African American males in the 3rd grade. Based on that, he said, that's how we develop our prison agenda. That shocked me and those in the room, but it was true that they were planning for a future that I did not want. So I decided at that moment that I would change the agenda, and rather than having our individuals predict how many beds they would need in prisons, that we needed to predict how many seats we needed in university. And that is only going to occur. We have a high quality of not only K-12 education, but a high quality of experience for children and families from the time they're born. Oftentimes, as most of you know, I travel to South Africa quite often, and I'm wearing a South African necklace now. But when I travel to villages, I'm often asked a critical question that is important in every African community: how are the children? And they're not talking about my individual children, my 2 children. They're talking about the children of the nation. They're talking about the children in the entire community. And when we ask that question, because when we find out how the children are doing, we really find out how the community is doing. And so we have to ask ourselves a critical question: how are the children in California? And if we can't answer that with a very positive and enthusiastic response, then obviously we have much work to do. As I said on the floor of the Assembly the other day, we often say that it takes an entire village to raise a child. We fail to understand that the other flip side of that is that we are the village. That if we talk about the village raising children, we are the village that's going to help support the children and the families. So early child care, preschool education, as well as parent education are critical foundations for improving our nation's educational system and vital investments and strategies to ensure the competitiveness of our nation, workforce, and the global economy.